Ladies and gentlemen, here we go. Tulsi Gabbard is doing the Lord's work. Also, yesterday, I reported on the fact that big Leticia James has been doing, other criminal activities, and the DOJ, who are investigating her for mortgage fraud, are now investigating her for international money criminal laundering syndicate. On top of that, this morning, we found out that there is evidence to suggest that not only did they spy on Trump's 2016 campaign, that they spied on Trump's 2024 campaign. Let me repeat that. There is now evidence that is suggesting and letting us know that not only did the Democrats, the swamp, the government gangsters spied on Donald Trump's 2016 campaign, they spied on his first presidency, and then they spied on his 2024 campaign. On top of that, just hours ago this morning, Tulsi Gabbard dropped another wave of Russiagate, documents. And here's what we know. Leading up to the 2016 election, not only did Obama know that Russia did not interfere in the election, not only did they know that it's a lie that they themselves made up, but they knew that Russian intelligence had enough dirt on Hillary Clinton that if they wanted to, and if they made it all public, it would destroy not only Hillary Clinton, but the Democrat Party for covering up issues about Hillary's finances, about Hillary's mental state, about her health, and about her international, the Clinton Foundation. Ladies and gentlemen, we're about to dive into all of this. It's magnificent news if you love truth, justice, and criminals in prison. So smash that thumbs up. Make sure that you are subscribed. Leave me a channel. Leave me a comment. Leave me a channel. No, leave me a comment. Where are you tuning in from today? And really quickly, before we get into all of that, today's sponsor, Verity Metals. Ladies and gentlemen, gold, silver, platinum. It's real money. It's constitutional money. It's in your hands money. This is not just paper dollars that they can print out of thin air and then send it overseas to fight wars that have nothing to do with you. This is protected. Now, why do I recommend Verity Metals? They're patriots. They're people of faith. They're huge Trump supporters. And they donate to MAGA candidates. They fight for your values, IRAs, 401ks, and everything in between. Call 888-328-6105. Tell them Vlad sent you for free silver on your next qualifying order. Links are down below in the description. Thank you. Now, let me show. First thing we're going to do is I want to cover this. This is the big one. This is the massive one. This is extremely big. Wow. Yeah. So this just came out 2 hours ago. Charlie Kirk, he made these points. Wow. Page 17 of the Declassified House Intelligence Committee reports is wild. It reveals that Russia had huge amounts of potential anti-Clinton dirt that it sat on in the final days of the 2016 campaign. It included internal claims that Hillary was on, quote, heavy tranquilizers and suffering from intensified psycho and emotional problems. Evidence of severe health ailments like type 2 diabetes and ischemic heart disease. Internal DNC comms that Obama and others found Hillary's health extraordinarily alarming. Evidence that secret meetings with religious leaders where Clinton offered, quote, significant increases in funding from the State Department in return for their support. Internal Democrat admissions that European allies were unenthusiastic about a Clinton presidency and thought she was not up to the job of head of state. He goes on to say, if Russia really was all in on supporting Trump and hurting Clinton, they would have leaked this information in October 2016 when her lead in the RCP average slipped to just plus 1.3 points. Instead, Russia didn't, completely debunking the core assumption of the Russia hoax. Rather than admit they were wrong, Brennan's CIA buried the info and manufactured a completely alternate reality to undermine the legitimacy of President Trump. So, ladies and gentlemen, they told us, right? And the whole Russiagate, it's going to be the second biggest lie ever perpetuated on the American public. The first one is going to be Joe Biden's mental health was great, right? Joe Biden's mental health is all awesome. No, it's not. It wasn't. But that's the first lie, that we had a puppet president. We had a dead man in office for 4 years. Now what's that? This is going to be the second. And the Democrat Party, right? Trump derangement syndrome. The foundation to Trump derangement syndrome is the whole Russiagate situation. Ladies and gentlemen, fear not. There's more great news. Here's this one. I told you that there is evidence that they spied on Trump in 2024. Here's what Matt Taibbi has to say.
Anyway, you're reporting that DOJ is also focusing on conspiracy charges, looking at conduct from 16 through 2024, and also at evidence that members of Trump's campaign may have been spied on in 2024. So can you please elaborate on either of those points?
I can't say a whole lot, Megan, other than what I wrote. But I've heard a couple of different stories. I have one source who has a very concrete story about this, but I can't go forward with it yet. But what I can say is that there is a statute of limitations issue with some of these 2016 behaviors that would be solved if they could prove a continuing pattern of conduct. And there were various investigations that took place during the Biden era, some of which the public knows about, some of which they don't know about. And those, I think, would become tied to a conspiracy charge that would relate to these 2016 behaviors.
So there's the issue. So there is, statute of limitations that is being looked at in the DOJ, the FBI, right, within all of these investigations. I have a question for Pam Bondi. It's been 8 days since Brennan, right, and Comey have been referred to you for prosecution. Why haven't they been indicted yet? It's been nearly a week since Tulsi Gabbard referred Obama for prosecutions. Nothing's happened yet. Like, guys, how about we stop wasting time and just go in? When a government agency refers somebody to the DOJ for prosecutions, that means they have already built a case for you. Go indict them. Go get them. Now, let's hope and pray that they actually did spy on Trump's 2024 campaign, because when it comes to statute of limitations, right, like Matt Taibbi just said, that was such a while ago. Statute of limitations possibly ran out. But if they continued in the lie, and then we can prove that they spied on Trump's campaign in 2024, and the evidence is looking like they did, we can break them all down going back to 2015. That's what we want. That's what I want. That's what you want. That's what the American people want. We want them all in prison. Throw away the key. Lock them up. Don't feed them. Give them no water. Forget about them. Right? That DC gulag. Sit there. The way they treated the January 6th political prisoners is how I want to see them be treated. No bond, no charges, no court dates. Refusing to allow you to see your attorney. Now, but we're going to keep going, ladies and gentlemen. There is more great news. So Tulsi Gabbard this morning came out and said, look, because Obama yesterday came out and his spokesperson was like, it's a lie. Everything's a lie. Don't believe them. Oh, okay. Tulsi Gabbard's not playing games. She's not Pam. Breaking. DNI Tulsi Gabbard releases reports proving Barack Hussein Obama directly gave the order to publish Russia collusion hoax, knowing there was no evidence to back it up. Full documents released below. Tulsi Gabbard released her second batch of previously undisclosed documents on Wednesday morning that include more proof that Barack Hussein Obama directly gave the order to publish Russia collusion hoax, knowing there was no proof to back it up. Obama was behind the coup against President-elect and then President Trump that sunk the United States government into turmoil for at least 3 years. Today's documents released follows Friday's document dump by ODNI Tulsi Gabbard of a declassified December 2016 presidential briefing revealing Barack Obama knew the Trump-Russia collusion narrative was a hoax. Barack Obama knew it was a hoax, and he was involved in manufacturing and politicizing the intelligence to create the Trump-Russia collusion canard. Tulsi Gabbard released this tweet earlier today. So I read the full report. Right? She drops everything. Everything, right? So I'm not going to keep you guys here for 2 hours and, read the whole report. But I've read it for you. Let me tell you what it says. Obama spokesperson came out yesterday and said, it's all a lie. We knew nothing. But according to reports, when a sitting president has a cabinet meeting or has a briefing, there are people around them that literally write down every single word that is said from the president and the people he's talking to. And there was a conversation where somebody told him, he's like, look, is there evidence that Russia's interfering with our election or wants to help Trump? Answer, no. And he's saying, so are you sure? Twice he asked, are you sure? Obama asked. And the person he was talking to from an intelligence agency said, no. And then the question came to Obama, well, sir, do we release the report? Even though there's no evidence, this is made up evidence and this is a lie. And they say, Mr. President, do we release the report? And he said, yes, take it to the media. Obama himself gave the order to release to the media. Now, do I think we're going to see people go to prison? Can I make my prediction? And I know this is going to be a disappointing prediction. Some guy, some little tweeb is going to take the fall. Kind of like when the 2008 banking collapse happened. Some little assistant bank guy took the fall for all of the banks of the world. Some New Yorker, little 31-year-old guy took the fall for everybody. And then Obama bailed out the banks. But here's why we need this, so that we at least know. At least we know. Now, hopefully I'm wrong. Hopefully I'm wrong, and hopefully I'll see comments soon telling me. But here's what I like. Okay, here's an example. The whole Q stuff, right? QAnon, our military posts on Japanese porn websites. Believe them. First of all, if you truly believe QAnon, go in your history books or use Grok or Google and Google search Operation Trust. QAnon has been played several times before by intelligence agencies. And the point of it is to keep people that normally would be protesting, rioting, and taking down their country. The point of it is to keep you at home, grab your popcorn, enjoy the show, and trust the plan. We were told arrests were going to come 4 years ago. But do you notice how they tell you, don't worry, arrests are coming soon? The plan keeps changing. No. Here's what I have to say to somebody that tells me one more time, trust the plan. We waited for 4 years. We put up with everything. We put up with everything. We put up with 4 years of open borders, crimes, criminals, crooks. No, we're done. Do it now. We're not trusting anything. We're not waiting anything. We're not enjoying nothing. Either do it or don't. Either do it or don't. Stop talking about it. Now, I want to take you somewhere else. And this is another really good one, ladies and gentlemen. This is a great one. And we're going to end it with this report. I shared this yesterday. How there are, when it comes to Big Tush James, Leticia, how she is, allowing banks, New York banks, to send money and go around sanctions and send money to Hezbollah. Boom, she's now being investigated by the DOJ. Thanks to Gateway Pundit readers. DOJ extends case against Standard Chartered Bank implicating Leticia James. On Tuesday, the Gateway Pundit reported on the Standard Chartered Bank sanctions evasion case that is now in the U.S. Second Circuit. Investigators found at least $9.6 billion of illegal payments by the bank to Iranian and Hezbollah entities. The case implicates New York Attorney General Leticia James and the Federal Reserve for ignoring billions of these illicit payments and ignoring Treasury sanctions designations. Maximum pressure is not being enforced because of the failures of the Fed and New York Attorney General Leticia James. So if you're Attorney General of a state, and let's say some country or a group or an organization have been sanctioned, and a bank in your state is sending them money, receiving them money, or letting them do business, you have to stop it. Iran and Hezbollah are heavily sanctioned. And banks in New York have been still sending, receiving, and letting them pass money all around, which Leticia James was briefed on twice in the last fiscal year. And she refused to do anything. She refused to warn the banks, shut down the banks, fine the banks, or even talk to the banks. So in simple words, Leticia James is helping sponsor and fund terrorism in the Middle East via Hezbollah and Iran, because she's allowing them to be funded and send funds. Now, with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, really quickly, let me see this. Oh my goodness. I want to show you this. You guys know Macron? Macron, whose wife is his husband. So Candace Owens in February this year started doing a show, about Macron, that Macron is a man. I mean, not Macron, but Bridget. Macron is a man. And he's a man. 2 weeks ago, the Supreme Court of France actually ruled, because Bridget Macron, because that's a he, sued 2 females that wrote a book in France and were saying, hey, that's a dude. So Macron's husband, Bridget, sued those 2 people, and the Supreme Court ruled that no, they have actual evidence to stand. They have good evidence to stand. Bridget, you're a dude. You're a bro. If you're punching your husband, you know what I mean? Watch this. Who remembers that? Bam! Right to the face. Do it again. Bam! And now they are so pissed that they are, imagine, you're the president of a European nation, and some American podcaster says your wife is your husband and you're going to sue them. You wouldn't sue them unless you want them to shut up. Like if someone calls me a female, I'd be like, oh, cool, lies don't hurt me. But if there's truth that I don't like, and truth that could hurt me and ruin my reputation, and you're speaking that, I want you to stop. The world is ran by weirdos, by beta males, and fake women. I said it. I said it. The world, I mean, look at the Chancellor of Germany. Look at the Prime Minister of Canada. Look at Macron. Look at Zelensky. Are you going to tell me these are tough guys? Look at Europe. It is right now the most embarrassing continent when it comes to their leaders. They're weak. Look at the UK. They're weak. They're pathetic. Why? Because somehow we allowed beta males and weirdos take power. See, if a kid, now I hate bullying. I'll fight a bully any day, even if he's not bullying me. But I'll tell you this, a kid or a girl, someone that was bullied their whole childhood, I feel bad for them, but never let that person to power. Because all that anger and that resentment that they built up growing up, they're going to release it onto the public. And that's why we see these weak men striving for power. And then when they get it, they want to go to war. They want, and when I look at Macron, you can't tell me he was a tough guy in high school. Same with the Chancellor of Germany. Same thing with, the UK, and the list goes on and on and on and on. And then when weak men get to power, the people suffer. Ladies and gentlemen, with that being said, subscribe. God bless you. Never forget, Macron's wife is his husband.